Do you want to know how my man cave has evolved over the years? Find out next. It's Chris, the Batman statue collector, and welcome back once again to Brotherhood of the Bat Collectibles. And today we're going to be going down memory lane. I was actually looking through my phone the other day and I was looking how different my collection has evolved over the years, from my very first display to where I am right now in this particular Bat Cave. And so I wanted to take you along the ride with me. But before we do that, if you're new here, please hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, and click that notification bell. Make sure you choose all. That way you don't miss any of this type of content. And so, like I said, I was looking through my photos, and I'm amazed by how different my collection is now compared to the way it was then. I want to take you even back further than that. So, in the early days, when I was still living with my parents, I collected Star Wars stuff. I had Star Wars helmets, I had some props, I had some, like a full-size Jabba the Hutt. I think it was Elusive Concepts, I think, something like that. I had a bunch of those type of pieces. I even had a Chewbacca head. I really liked those, but as I got older, as I was working full-time, I kind of lost interest, sold all those things. That was before eBay, so there was just garage sales and things like that. I probably lost a lot of money, but whatever. So I quit collecting, basically, until our first year that I was married, and that was around 2007. My wife and I had a home office. She had her desk area, I had my desk area, and I wanted some kind of knick-knacky things, and I bought, I remember, a Gentle Giant Darth Vader bust, an Emperor, probably like a Stormtrooper, and I had a few DC stuff, I don't know, just kind of getting into the collecting world. So again, this was 2007-ish. But my first big purchase was the 1/4 scale Museum Batman from DC Direct. This is a kind of an iconic piece where Batman's kind of coming up the stairs from the Batcave. It's an old school piece, but that was my first big one. And I remember I couldn't believe how much I spent on it. It was maybe $300. And that was by far the most I've ever spent on anything at that point. I remember I had this giant conversation with my wife. She couldn't believe I was going to spend that much money. Oh dear Lord, how has that changed now, and how different those conversations are with my wife now. When I'm talking about thousands or 3,000 or 4,000, oh my good Lord, it's changed so much. But anyway, I collected a little bit there, here and there, but that was kind of it. And it wasn't really until around 2012 that I started my mini display. And I kind of started with Hot Toys. I started with the Jack Nicholson Joker and the Michael Keaton Batman. I had some of the Dark Knight, Heath Ledger Joker. So again, this was, 2008, 2009, somewhere in there. I had the Two-Face. I had a whole bunch of those pieces. Around that same time, I got my first premium format, which was the Jack Sparrow. I'm a big Pirates of the Caribbean fan, so I got the Jack Sparrow, the OG Jack Sparrow. And that was it. That was it for a while until we ended up moving to our old house. And again, that display was very small. I just had a black cabinet, glass display that I had bought. I think I spent $400 on that, which again, that was a giant amount of money for me back then. But I bought that and had some of the Hot Toys displayed in there. And again, nothing against Hot Toys, but I decided that I would rather have statues. I thought that they looked more elegant, a little nicer. And I just felt a little awkward about Hot Toys, even though they're fantastic. I just felt a little bit weird about them. So I decided to go full statue. At that point, around that time, I think it was around 2009, maybe it was even later. I'm trying to remember. I think it was around 2012. I think the original Joker Premium Format, the one that I have in my case over there, I think that was my very first ever DC piece other than that Batman statue that I talked about. So I was incredibly excited to get it. Of course, Joker is my favorite character. So I started collecting premium formats. I started this really weird mismatch. I even had an Interbay Joker, and I don't think they're even around anymore, in 1/4 scale. So I was starting to really be into the 1/4 scale stuff. And so I bought that. I bought the Indiana Jones premium format, just some things that I was kind of digging at the time. I'm a fan of movies. I'm a fan of comic books, so I was just kind of hodgepodging it together. Also around that same time, I was even starting to get some of the Star Wars collectibles. I had the Darth Vader life-size bust. And I had a bunch of the premium formats as well. I had the Emperor Palpatine on throne, which I know is a rare piece now. At the time it wasn't. But I had a bunch of Star Wars pieces. I started collecting my Batman pieces. So I had Batman. I had, Harley Quinn. I started piecing those together a little bit. Then I decided to build my first kind of big display cabinets like you see in my case now. I built one, and that was kind of going to be it. It was going to be around the corner in my basement. So, as I talk, I'm going to pepper some photos in here of that basement, the way it kind of looked in that very, very first display. So that was really kind of where the Batman statue collector was first born in terms of the way I display my stuff now. So I started that, and that was going to be kind of it. I had that black cabinet, I had the black display case, and that was it. I had some like bookshelves where I was putting things on bookshelves. I wasn't happy with the way that looked at all. I even bought some of those nice bookshelves thinking, okay, but again, they just never fit right. It just wasn't the look that I was going for. So that's really whenever I decided to start building those custom shelves. And I was really happy with the end result, how it turned out. And again, if you want to see how I made those, I'll put a link up here in the description. There's a couple of videos actually out there. Maybe 3, 4, I don't remember. But anyway, I built that one case. I was starting to then buy some Marvel pieces. I started really getting into the Marvel universe. Again, this was 08 when the Marvel universe started, the MCU, with Iron Man. And so I had picked up Hulk. I think I bought and sold Hulk like 3 or 4 times. I had the Iron Man, which is still one of my favorite pieces. I had Thor. I had Black Widow. I ended up getting her. So I was starting to get this Marvel collection, so I built a second case. So you guys know how much I love my Gotham City display. Well, I actually had a Marvel display where I had real concrete, real crumbles of asphalt, this great backdrop, and I really, really liked it a lot. But again, I was getting everything at that point. My Batcave was so varied, which there's nothing wrong with that, but I wanted everything. I was seeing from Sideshow at the time, and Prime 1 wasn't around even then yet. So I was kind of getting obsessed with these pieces, and that's when I started getting so stressed out. I've talked about it multiple times here on the channel, where I was getting so stressed out that the hobby was not fun anymore, and I needed to narrow my focus. And that's whenever I did that. That really, really helped. Now, at that time, I still had my pieces. I still had my Marvel. I still had my Star Wars. I started kind of selling off my Star Wars at that point. I still had my Marvel, though. I still had some other Batman pieces. I had the HGC Joker and the Batman bust from Sideshow. I made this awesome Dark Knight display, which I miss. I would love to maybe recreate that at some point, but again, I just don't know if I have the space for that. But I am hoping to get that Infinity Studios Joker, so maybe I can do something similar. But anyway, I had my Dark Knight display, and then at that point I started selling my Marvel pieces. I'm like, okay, I've got to sell my Marvel pieces. I had even switched from the movie pieces to the comic book pieces. I had like an Iron Man life-size bust. I had all of these different, again, displays that I was really trying to make work. I wanted to kind of have both, but I knew I kind of at least needed to narrow it down, but I hadn't done it yet. But anyway, the Marvel stuff went, the comic book stuff from Marvel went, again, the Star Wars stuff went, sold all of it, no issue, no problem there. Everything pretty much that I had, people were really wanting at the time. So again, I knew that I needed to focus on Batman, so I started narrowing that down even more in our family basement. That was fine. My kids were young. They didn't mess with the things at all. They were very respectful, but it got awkward when we had family over sometimes, family over to spend the night for holidays. That's where our guest room was. Actually, we had 2 guest rooms down there. And so it got awkward because some of the pieces, like my Joker bust, were scary to the little kids that were coming, the family members. So at that point, I had been kind of kicking around the idea to bring the Batcave up to the upstairs attic. It's kind of like a bonus room. That room was originally used as like a pool table room, and that's what became Batcave 1.0. And that's what you guys knew, and that's how you guys got to know me here on the channel. And that is really, truly where I became the Batman statue collector because of my collection. I wasn't planning on that. I wasn't planning on being a YouTuber or any of that. If you watch the original videos they suck. They were not very good. But I just really wanted to put my collection out there. And so I took this attic space and I created my garage shelves. I created my my look that became kind of iconic here on the channel, and that I still use to this day. And over the years, over those couple of years, that collection evolved as well. I don't remember if I was there maybe 2.5 years, maybe around there, maybe a little bit longer that I was in that space. And I'm very thankful for that space because it was mine. No one went up there other than me. My kids at that time could care less. My wife could care less at that time. It was just a perfect space for me to kind of go away and be in my man cave, be surrounded by those things that made me happy. I was focused. Again, lots of pieces in and out of the collection, new pieces in. You know, I had the Heath Ledger Joker half scale. I had the half scale Ben Affleck. Kind of came to the point where I realized I didn't like the half scale all that much. I preferred 1/3 scale. I was getting in Arkham pieces at that time. I had the Batman and Arkham Knight. Those were my first two pieces. And then slowly but surely, that Arkham collection grew and grew and grew until I had, I think, over 16 pieces. Some I kept, some I sold, like Batgirl and Robin. But at the end of the day, of course, I wanted to keep Batman surrounded by his villains, and that's still a theme that I have going on to this day. But again, lots of pieces were coming in. I was very limited, though, with the angled walls, which gave it some character for sure, but it really made it difficult for height. It really made it difficult to display things that I really wanted to maybe have up higher, like my Batman Hush. It didn't look good on the lower cases. So I had limited issues with how I could display. Also, I was completely running out of room. So that really worried me a lot. Around that time, though, we decided to start looking for a new home. And I was excited about it, but also devastated to have to leave the Batcave. This house that we're in now is fantastic. This was not the original room. As you guys know, a lot of you that have been around the channel for a while, you guys know that this was not the original room I was going to be in. I was going to be in the 3-window room. And I tried lots of different combinations. The 3-window room is still a possibility to maybe expand into or maybe change things around at some point. But at the end of the day, no matter how I configured it, I still didn't like it as much as this room. I felt like this room felt more like the Batcave 1.0. So that other room became Batman 2.0, Batcave 2.0. But what ended up wrecking it was a dog next door. Really nice dog, but it's a big dog and it barks all the time, and I don't know when it's going to be. So I'll be right in the middle of filming and I'll have to stop 700 times because the dog would start barking, ruin the video. Then I have to start over. It became a very big frustration. So at the end of the day, this room right here that I'm in right now became Batcave 2.0 for real. It needed some work. Obviously, it needed some paint. I painted the walls gray, kind of set up the cabinets how I wanted to. The Arkham display was very similar to the Batcave in the old house. I also had to deal with these white shelves, which I had never had to deal with, but then in the end I ended up liking the white shelves because I could put, you know, my books on, I could put some smaller scale things on, and it worked out really well. I ended up building, you know, new cabinets and all kinds of things in here that you guys, again, for everybody that's been along for the ride, it's been awesome to be able to take you along that journey with me to see kind of how these things have changed. And now I'm in the middle of another change. I've sold some of my Arkham pieces, as a lot of you have known, and you know, I have this bust. I'm going to have these other busts. I'm trying to figure out how to display them, how to maybe incorporate some movie pieces into this display, or maybe keep it separate. I'm really not sure yet. So right now I'm in another crossroads for this Batcave, for this man cave. But looking back at the original display, just in a black curio cabinet, or even before that, and just on my desk with my computer and my mouse, from going from there and stair-stepping up to where I am right now, There are people in this world that have collections that, would blow mine out of the water any day of the week. But I am proud of what I've created. And it's not just for me. We've created this collection together right here on this channel. Because again, I don't know what my collection would be like. I don't know what any of this would be without this channel, without you guys, without your input, without your friendship and everything else in between. It's just been an amazing journey. And I am really happy where I am right now. Would I like this display to be bigger? Yes. Would I like to move into maybe our living room in the basement or that extra giant storage room? Yes. But for right now, in 2021, I'm really happy with this space. This space feels cozy. This space feels like home. And this is a space where I go to get away from stresses of life. Even though this channel can cause some. I'm always busy. I'm always editing. I'm always doing these things. But it's what I want to do. It's my passion. And I'm so happy to share that passion with you guys. So that's it. I just wanted to kind of share with you my journey, what my Batcave has transformed into over the years. Some of you maybe have never seen those photos before, especially if you're newer to the channel. Some of you that have been with me since 2016, I think it was November 22nd of 2016. A lot of you have been along for the ride for a long time, and you've seen that evolution of Man Cave. But what I want to know now in the comments is I want to know, how has your collection changed over the years? Has your direction changed? Has your displays changed? Let me know all of that. Like, again, I started out little busts, hot toys, and look where I'm at now. It's completely different. So I really want to know what you guys think. What have you guys been dealing with in terms of your collection changing? Are you happy with where your collection is right now? I would love to read all of those. And again, I do try to read every comment. Lately, I've been getting a lot more comments on the channel. The bigger the channel gets, the more comments I'm getting, and so I'm falling a little bit behind. I do apologize, but I do try to get as many comments answered as I can, because I love interacting with you guys. And again, just thank you for checking this out today. I really appreciate it. Again, hope you're all doing great out there. And if it is your first time watching, please consider hitting that subscribe button. We're trying to grow. We're trying to grow, and we're trying to make this community as big as possible. I'm excited to see how big this community's gotten since I started. It's blown up, and it's very exciting, especially to see all the newcomers, all the noobs that have come into the hobby. So anyway, if you're new here, please hit that subscribe button. Hit that like button. That does help people just like you find this content. It also helps YouTube recommend these videos to other people so they find it. So thank you for that. Just taking a second to do that like means the world to me. Consider hitting our join button down below. That does give you early access to our videes. Check out our t-shirts. We got awesome Batman Statue Collector merch. You can click that down there in the Teespring store. I think they just call them Spring now. But anyway, check that stuff out. And again, thank you guys so very much for watching. It means the world to me. And I'll see you next time right here in Batcave 2.0. Will there be a Batcave 3? I don't know. We'll see. We'll find out. Thanks for tuning in. I'll see you guys later. Bye-bye, everybody. Hey guys, thank you so very much for watching today, and if you're new here, please hit the subscribe button right here on the screen and check out these two awesome videos. I think you're going to love them. And also please join us on social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. I would love to have you join in all the fun. Thank you guys so very much for watching. See you in the Batcave.